Alright, check 1, 2. Welcome, anyone who's tuning in. More than likely on the on-demand version that I'm going to stick up for this later. But for anyone who's joining, this is going to be a session on Shmups problem solving in Shikigami 3 on stage 4, second half, the Zarko part, the popcorn bit. In other words, the normal enemies before the end boss, second half of the stage. And the reason I think I want to do this as a problem solving session is because I'm having problems with it, and I want to try and talk through how I'd go about solving those on a normal day. So let's restart and I'll show you what I mean. So Kotaro, my character, has a Shikigami with a homing function. There she goes, my friendly ghost. And this is great because as long as you stay near to the bullets, you get the maximum bonus for her work elsewhere on the stage. But as I'm sure you've just seen, the problem is that this section opens with an absolute curtain of bullets. And I know some people translate Danmaku as bullet curtain, but this really does take some explaining. So this first bit with these purple spikes is kind of fine, but when you get these green bits coming, they have gaps that are quite unpredictable, and also there's so many of them that it's just plain risky to try and ride it out down the bottom of the screen, leaving it to the Shikigami. So sure, we can macro around these bits, and we can macro around these bits just about. But the question is, once all this green stuff starts raining down, how do you get through this reliably, safely? Because as it stands, I'm getting a bit jammy here, so this isn't very normal. Like, sooner or later, the noise gets too much, and the chance of dying is high. What we want is a chance of dying that is low. So let's have a think about this. Opening phase, you get these blocks of enemies coming, and as you can see, their shots are aimed towards me. So as long as I keep moving where they're not, then that's fine. But then you get enemies with the purple stuff and enemies with the green stuff. And sooner or later, if you try and do the dance and squeeze through the gaps, there's a very high likelihood on the run that you could make one mistake and lose a life, and actually you lose all your coins, which means that your score is going to get hammered for the rest of the game because you're not carrying your maximum number of coins. So find this, there you go. So the first rule of thumb that I want to give you here is that, and actually I should take a sidebar here and say, this is not a game that I would recommend for beginners, but the reason this stream is beginner friendly is because I want to talk about it in a way that you can understand, and that you can apply to any shooting game that you're playing. It doesn't really exclusively apply here. There are techniques involved that I want to pass on, and if I can illustrate them here, I can illustrate them anywhere. So let's give it a go. So if I say the opening section, get a second to position yourself. If I pull all these bullets up here and then do the same here, then I've got a safe way round, and then what I want to do after that is deal with there you go, deal with all this green stuff that's coming down from the top. So let's have a think about that. At the moment I'm only using Shikigami, but I have a nice rapid shot that is rapid enough to wipe out pretty much anything. Drop down here, because this green stuff starts coming from across the top, can you see, from left to right. So what I need to do is try and start dealing with it on the left before it ever comes out, because for this section, I mean, you can try and squeeze through to maximize your coin pickups when your Shikigami goes off to do the work, but there's a very, very high chance that I'm going to die on a run, and I'm not really happy with that level of risk. I want to reduce that risk even if it costs me some of the score, because I'm not here to break any world records. I want to get the clear of this game, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm looking for the most reliable ways to pass through, and just trying to do that dance is not one of them. So let's have a proper think. I'm going to delay bringing the Shikigami out just so I can get a bit of bullet proximity for a few coins extra. Do this, and then I'm going to start letting off my full auto. And what that means is I get down to a fairly manageable number of bullets, and the green stuff that's left to deal with at the end is already free of the purple stuff. So let's try that route again. So Shiki, macro round. These shots pull down here such that I'm already on the left, but I need to get my rapid out quicker. And the reason that I haven't got my rapid out quicker is because when I ended up where you see me down the bottom of the screen, I still hadn't managed to macro round the second wave of bullets. So I wanted to pull that up so that it's higher out of the way and it doesn't force me over to the right, so that I can start doing my rapid fire directly on the left to completely close off the entrance of these top enemies. So let's go for that again. So we need it higher. This is what's the thing. So I could potentially go around here and then macro these. Oh, hang on a minute, I've got a bit brave there. Maybe it's down the middle. So get these out of the way. And then from here, pull down the middle such that I can get over to the left. I've already fluffed it. I mean, it's still a bit more manageable, but because I'm not staying on the left, I'm not withholding enough of the green. So I'm not sure that middle pull is really any good. I want it to be here as high up as possible, and I can, and then see, that is a lot more manageable. And then we got the question of what to do with these large insects. What I think I need to do is kind of tolerate quite a lot of diagonal. Oh, that's too tight. Come on to the insects in a minute. Let's try those first two macros. So pull the shots out here, macro round, and then get these nice and high as much as possible. Getting that red shot by proximity makes it more powerful, which is going to give you a better chance to avoid it. So if that was true, then if I try and do my diagonal, still wasn't too unhappy with that. Oh yeah, this next bit is absolute chaos. Watch this. So you've got just an absolute network of shots coming out there. So I'll talk through that again on the next way round. So macro round here, and then start getting this out in red, preferably by staying close to the bullets. And actually that will give you a few coins. That was just jammy. So by the time I'm here, the pathway is like evolving diagonally to the opposite side from where the insect was. But where they give you two of these insects, I'm really not too sure. I mean, that's just total blind luck. So here, I've kind of already got a bit of this part worked out. Let me just pause there. What you saw directly before it paused is that you've got enemies ploughing in from left and right, middle of the screen, and they're setting up essentially spreads that go 180 degrees. I can't remember how many there are, but you've got one straight up, straight down, and then several times going around the semicircle both sides. So you've got almost like a network of danger, but in between them there are safe spots because those shots are fixed. In other words, they won't track me and they don't move around. They only ever come out in the same direction. So as long as you can find a safe pocket, then you can ride it out. But they do send these green streams to chase you. So there is a way of kind of getting through them or like avoiding them as they come down. I'll try it next time and try and point it out. This bit now is just almost complete chaos. What you've got is these tower kind of enemies that you can see several of in the background, and they just come on screen and they spew out these shots in all different directions. And unfortunately, this is just one of those occasions where the solution is you're going to have to pick your way through. With the Shikigami that I've got, there's no way I can kind of withhold that any further. And actually, if you've got a certain amount of practice, a kind of intermediate level practice of being able to pick through stuff like this, it is quite doable. So I'll try and illustrate, because you can see around you these pathways emerging. That's not so great. Now, this guy, these guys come on. Yeah, see this. I'm gonna have to come back to this. Let's see how we're getting on at the beginning. So we know we're happy with this bit. Get around here, macro. Get down here quick as you can. And then use the proximity to give yourself enough red shots to deal with the other noise that's coming on screen. Here, get down in front of the insect and then gradually pick to the other side of it. Get down in front of the insect, and then the evolving path is kind of diagonally to the opposite side. And here it's going to be a similar thing, but kind of in the middle. Still not too happy with that. So what we'll do next time is we will have a think about what we can do to pick apart that middle sequence of the two insects together. Right, get the red shots on. Unfortunately, if you want red shots, you are going to have to get close to the bullets, so sometimes that stuff is going to happen. So again, the dodging that's required here, I would say, is an intermediate level, but the way of querying the puzzle is something that you can do with any shmup. It just depends how much. So you can see there that I've managed to get into a safe pocket. Now, that is just, no, I wasn't quite ready because I'm talking. Right, let's try this. So you can see there is a very slowly kind of evolving path through those shots. These guys come on and they shoot at you to try and cover the space. And this stuff is again like, has these pockets. These two guys come, there you go, and then you'd be on to the final boss. So that was the whole thing with, I think, one life lost. It gives you this score readout which says I'm 336 million off the highest score that I've had in this practice session. So let's see if we can get that up. Macro around here, macro through here, and then let's get those shots on. So by the time you've got over to there, you kind of got it already. I guess, yeah, that's actually... I tell you what I liked about that is that I took the left-hand path and it's actually wider. So what does that mean here? I mean, that's just all blind luck. I'm going to try and hit a pause before the double insect bit this time, see if we can think about some ways through. Macro. Get the shots out. To be honest, at that point, oh no, I spoke too soon. I'm not really happy with that. I mean, it is doable when there's only a last bit of it, but I'd rather there not be any green at that point. So from here, what I was saying was, pause. Now, both of these insects fire this stream, which you can kind of see above my head. There's like a dense column of shots, so they both fire one of those directly at you, and then these Zarkos flying around fire some other stuff at you. So there is an option to try and just zap off the Zarkos with rapid shot, which I'll try and do next time, and you'll see that clears the thing up a lot. But what I wouldn't mind doing is finding, if I stay central, let's just start like this. If I stay here in the center, what problem do I end up with, if at all? Like, is the center, because there's two insects, one on each side, can I find a way through the center? Is that like somewhere that a gap opens up? So if I resume, so that's not too difficult. Actually, that's not too difficult. Oi, oi, oi. Nope. Right. So this is pretty true to life how you might end up doing a practice session. Try and get the early sections down. And you've got to bear in mind that, like, you know, in Japan, oh, by the way, if I zap these off, you'll see that it becomes a lot less noisy in the second half. But I think it is quite doable. I mean, now stay in the center and get around those two cone things, and that's not so bad. Now here, I find I don't mind drilling a bit. Let's just get through here so we can get on to the next bit. Again, I'm kind of staying central and just looking for some fairly tiny gaps. There's those green things that chase you around. So right, heading over to, at the end, there's a creature that comes on that looks like a big insect that fires this kind of circular, I don't know, slightly diagonal overlapping thing that you can get through. But what I've just learned there is not to get through it over on the left hand side, because as you can see, like, the enemies in the lower part of the screen are coming from the left, in the upper part of the screen they're coming from the right. So actually what I want to do is, through the parts where those big kind of tanky looking things come and fire the green strips, make my way over to the right and not to the left. So let's see if we can get this. Macro, and then get the shots out and keep them out. This is what I'm learning, is the secret. Now, over here, what I was saying is if you go around the outside to the right, that's not so bad. So the same would apply here, outside to the left. Oh, not loving that. Right, let's move on center. We think, although I'm slightly off course, which means that things can have to get a bit creative because you've deviated from the course. So what I really want to do here is not that. It's get in a pocket up here. Right, let's see if we can ride this bit out. So what you're looking for is the kind of like evolving pathway just above your head. And you've got to keep on checking and rechecking that path like it's opening up. So here, the thing is we don't want to get stuck over on the left because at the end, so through, yeah, okay. Actually those things, I can't say they're that high up from the right either. This last bit, these tanks are just there for a bonus. If you cleared the thing in time, then it's a little bit caravan-y, in that you get a last wave of enemies to kind of pick off. Whereas if you've been hit or taken your time to get to the end, you won't get that bonus wave. It's just a kind of extra thing to help you add a bit more on the score. Right, this is going alright, and so you've got to get all those waves. And then here, after that thing, go over to more like the outside, and here, around the outside as well. I like to get a bit creative there. Now, center, I'm kind of here on time, so I'm expecting this not to be too bad. What I want to do is get in there you go. It's that pocket that I want. So it's drilling off the first wave. Now keep watching this tiny tunnel appearing above my head, because that is where I'm heading into. Right, this guy wants me to go left. Fine. Let's try this out. So if I'm in, now look, these guys are pretty low as well. So again here it's kind of like center isn't, oh nice. So if I can pull all that off in real life, I get an extra life at that point. Although actually that's the only that is only the first extend at 200k, 200 million rather. So I'm not going to get that in stage 4, all being well. But I haven't had it so far in this session, so that's a good sign. Here we go again. Macro. These guys. Macro down here. And then get the shots out. And actually, if you can stay. So if I stay there. Oi. That's not so good. Instead get him around the outside, stay reasonably close to the noise. That was tight, but I did feel like it was controlled. And that's the bit that's going to take a bit of practice to get that level of confidence. There we go, get in that pocket, right, get ready for the long dark tunnel. Felt like I was in a long dark tunnel, anyone knows where that comes from. Shout me out for extra points. Oh, that's not good, is it? So the 4 of those big tanks coming on, they're aiming at me, and because I'm not clearing out the way, I'm not herding those aimed green strips quickly enough. So what I think I need to do is something along the figure of 8 line, to dodge one, go up the screen a bit, where the other one comes out, go down the screen a bit in a kind of a figure of 8 at the bottom, like sideways figure of 8, not a normal figure of 8. So let's give this a crack. I'm quite happy with the progress so far. One thing that you may or may not have noticed, but the extent here to which I'm having trouble getting the same route twice is like that, is because there's a fair amount of not necessarily random number RNG, but a fair amount of stuff where the shots have a kind of lever based on your position, that if you deviate from that position by not very much, you can end up in a position where the shots come out quite differently, so it's hard to recognize the route every time, which is a tiny bit frustrating actually. In here they've definitely like salted a bit of that in here. Right, so if I go round here, get his one here, that one there, and then come back, that one there. Didn't quite work. I'm gonna pull at that point, try again. So, ooh, get out of there, quick. I really want any of that green stuff. Now, if I take these Zarkos off, then that should... No, that's no good, come on. Now, there is a lesson to be learned there. What I suddenly decided was to go off my designated plan and just start wasting off Zarkos left and right. And as you saw, what that ends up doing is making the other shots come out in a way that doesn't feel familiar. So let's try this. Let's stick to this plan. Just macro around here basically. Somehow I need to do that maybe a bit more slowly. In all honesty, the part that I'm finding most reliable there is to pick my way slowly diagonally when those insects come around. And I think this is also an important point to mention, is that with these games, what works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for anybody else, because it's based on your reactions, it's based on your kind of it's based on your tolerance for risk and how much you're willing to risk, to go after scores and so on. And so in many ways, watching replays on YouTube, I'm prepared to continue at this point because I'm chatting, so I'm losing my place a bit. Watching replays on their own, where you have absolutely no information about what the person playing thought and why they did stuff. Oh man, this is so like... I guess, yeah, see, it's a stuck a kind of small figure of 8 in the middle. At this, by the way, when you get these rush downs, see, I didn't get the wave of tanks at the end on the timing of the stage. But what I'm trying to say is, watching high level replays, which is mainly what is tempting to watch on YouTube, it doesn't necessarily tell you how you're going to react in the same circumstances in the game. So what I'm trying to do here is keep chatting and get rained on. What I'm trying to do here is to say what you want is an analysis that works for you, and this is the problem solving element of it. You've got to kind of go through the stages like this and say, okay, yeah, this feels comfortable and this bit feels ridiculous, and if it really feels see, that's not too bad, is it? Those insects are kind of harmless once you've got past the spreads. Now what I really want is to... That'll do. Right. Made it. 3 lives intact. Can I hold my nerve? Get through this section. And then we're going to be straight onto these guys. Now what we were saying is, if we go... Oi! Oh, bigger oi! Heartbreak. Oh, we got the last one, so go and get them all. Get them all. Oh. Flying too close to the sun. But at least it was a complete section. Right back to this retry menu. So let's give it another go. How long have we been on stream for right here? Actually, let me just check that for a second. The stream info says I've been streaming for, how long have I been streaming for? 30 minutes, yes. So let's give it a couple more runs. I think I've been through and explained why I'm making all these moves. Let's restart. So yeah, let's recap here on these last couple of runs. Keep fingers crossed. Macro round here. Macro round here, and get the shots out. Try and get close to the bullets for at least like a 7 or an 8. And then over here, going, oh man, calling restart on that one. If you notice, I didn't quite take the same path onto that first big insect, and that is what's, oh dear, right, it cost me run. Let's keep going. So what we're saying is you want to get up here, and then so from here pull down, and then it opens up diagonally. So from here, saying pull down, it's these tooth comb things. That was just blind luck. Once you've got into that, like say the second of those pockets to the right, then you're kind of on a winner. And actually this is proving pretty friendly in the sense that I'm not moving much and it's just kind of parting ways over my head. So if I, oh man, this is so, I'm gonna have to come back to this bit, because all of that was just blind luck. You know, one of the things to remember is that now hopefully I managed to get a plus. If I get a plus on this readout, yay, plus 38.6 million. And to be honest, I'm not confident that if I do it again, I'm going to get a better readout than that. So I'm going to wrap here. Hopefully you've enjoyed the stream. Make sure to subscribe if you want more stuff like this. I only do it sporadically, but I am trying to do it in such a way that it makes clear what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So if you liked it, give us a shout either in the comments or DMs on Twitch, or you can find me Shmups_hobby on X, formerly known as Twitter, but let's just call it Twitter. All right, peace out.